International trade, also known as global trade, is the exchange of goods and services across international borders. This includes everything from consumer products and raw materials to services like banking, tourism, and communication. The primary reason countries engage in international trade is that they each have different resources, capabilities, and advantages. For example, a country with abundant oil may export it while importing food that it cannot produce efficiently itself. This concept is known as comparative advantage, where countries specialize in producing goods they can make most efficiently and trade for others, ultimately benefiting all trading partners. International trade has been a key driver of economic growth and development worldwide. It allows countries and consumers to access products and services that may not be available or are more expensive domestically, leading to more competitive pricing and greater product variety. In 2024, global trade reached a record $33 trillion, with services growing even faster than goods, reflecting the increasing importance of sectors like finance, technology, and tourism. However, global trade is also shaped by policies such as tariffs, taxes on imports, which can protect domestic industries but also raise costs for consumers and businesses. While about two-thirds of international trade now occurs without tariffs due to trade agreements, significant barriers remain, especially in sectors like agriculture and textiles. Developing countries often face higher tariffs, limiting their access to global markets and hindering their ability to move up the value chain. Global trade is managed and regulated by international organizations like the World Trade Organization, which sets the rules to ensure trade flows smoothly and fairly between nations. Despite its benefits, international trade can also create challenges such as trade imbalances, economic dependence, and vulnerability to global events like political tensions or supply chain disruptions. In summary, international or global trade is fundamental to the modern world economy, enabling countries to specialize, innovate, and grow, while also requiring careful management to ensure fair and sustainable outcomes for all participants. Business organizations can be classified in several ways, but the most common classification is based on ownership structure. The main types include sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations, limited liability companies, LLCs, and cooperatives. A sole proprietorship is owned and operated by one individual, making it the simplest form. Partnerships involve two or more people sharing ownership and responsibilities and can be either general or limited. Corporations are separate legal entities owned by shareholders, offering limited liability but requiring more regulation. LLCs combine the limited liability of corporations with the flexibility of partnerships. Cooperatives are owned and operated by a group of individuals for their mutual benefit. Additionally, business organizations can be categorized by sector: private sector, owned by individuals or private groups; public sector, owned by the government; and third sector, nonprofit or voluntary organizations. They can also be classified by scale: small, medium, or large enterprises, and by their primary objective, such as for-profit or not-for-profit organizations. Business organizations can be classified in several comprehensive ways, each reflecting different legal, financial, and operational characteristics. The most fundamental classification is by ownership structure. The primary types include sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations, limited liability companies, LLCs, and cooperatives. A sole proprietorship is owned and operated by a single individual, making it the simplest and most common form, with the owner bearing full personal liability for business debts. Partnerships involve two or more individuals who share ownership, profits, and liabilities. These can be general partnerships, where all partners share responsibility, or limited partnerships, where some partners have limited liability and control. Corporations are separate legal entities owned by shareholders, offering limited liability protection but facing more regulatory requirements and, in some cases, double taxation. S corporations and benefit corporations are special forms of corporations that offer different tax treatments or social objectives. LLCs blend the limited liability of corporations with the flexibility and tax benefits of partnerships. Cooperatives are owned and operated by members who share profits or reinvest them for mutual benefit. Beyond ownership, business organizations can also be classified by sector: private, owned by individuals or groups; public, government-owned; and third sector, nonprofit or voluntary organizations. There are also specialized forms, such as joint ventures, franchises, holding companies, and government-owned corporations. Nonprofit organizations exist to serve public or mutual benefits rather than to generate profits for owners or shareholders. Incorporated businesses, such as corporations and LLCs, are legally distinct from their owners, while unincorporated businesses like sole proprietorships and partnerships are not. The choice of structure impacts taxation, personal liability, control, and the ability to raise capital. Each type has its own advantages and disadvantages. A franchise is a business model where one party, known as the franchisor, grants another party, the franchisee, the right to use its brand name, trademarks, business model, and proprietary systems to operate a business. In return, the franchisee typically pays the franchisor an initial franchise fee and ongoing royalties, which are often calculated as a percentage of the franchisee's sales. The franchisor provides the franchisee with training, support, and access to established marketing and operational systems. This arrangement allows the franchisee to run a business under a proven brand and business model, reducing some of the risks associated with starting a new, independent business.